chart. All right, I can tell you, it's heating up. All right. I just want to send some love and light to Chris Mutsvangwa and Monica, but I can never forget actually Chris spitting vile, that was on Newsroom Africa. He said Zimbabwe is a sovereign state. We do what we want to do. I can only imagine how he feels right now. Mr. Mutsvangwa, shout out to you, man, and happy weekend to you. Okay. All right. So, speculations again, it has been a lot. Chiwenga, Saviour, Kasukuwere, Mutsvangwa, the drama unfolds against Mnangagwa. Again, I'm not surprised of what's going on within the camps of ZANU-PF. It doesn't bother me at all. You know what I mean? So guys, before we proceed and get into the details of what's going on tonight, I want to say if it's your first time to come across this channel, please do subscribe. Make sure that you ring the bell so that at least when I'm live, you'll be notified immediately. You know what I mean? And then I'll send some love and light to almost everyone who's rushing here because I know people can't wait to have this conversation. Social media is on a buzz. It's unbelievable. I mean, it has been a long day, back and forth, charts. I can tell you, and the campaign for Saviour is getting thicker and thicker. I'm always being tagged. Oh, yeah, I'm like, woo, very interesting. On the other hand, also Mutsvangwa is going nuts. ZANU-PF, the division is so clear, even on social media. You can see the ZANU-PF patriots are also saying something different. The ZANU-PF, another official page, is saying something different. It's like two factions fighting against each other, but the other one is actually celebrating the arrest of Mutsvangwa's son. Quite very interesting days ahead. But I want to remind you, if you do remember, immediately after the coup, how Mutsvangwa and some of these ZANU-PF bigwigs were singing and dancing, I remember that day, they were having their, I can't call it a congress, but they were celebrations at that time. Mutsvangwa was at the forefront. I mean, they were singing, Gamba, you know what I mean? And I remind you, because I live for this. Take a listen. The big wigs, Asta Peza, okay, they were done. Actually, hoodwinking Zimbabweans, Asta Peza, Kutanga Kwaro Gamba. I can only imagine what's going on right now in the camps of Chris Mutsvangwa because things aren't looking really great for him. They aren't. It's really bad. So some PF patriots actually cementing the report that Neville was not arrested for Starling router. Starling charge came post-arrest as an extra charge. Neville is being charged of illegal forex trading, unlawful trading in cash, and money laundering, and also charge of possession of operating a Starling device without license. I think you guys have seen videos that are circulating for Neville trying to get into a truck. I'm talking about the prison truck. It's, when you look at it, it's quite very sad to watch. But one thing I will tell you is Neville is really like his daddy. Very arrogant guy. When he speaks with so much, he's a pompous dude, I can tell you. Very much pompous. But honestly, what's going on right now in the camps of ZANU-PF, it's going to heat up. I've told you last time that one thing that I know about life is if you are, if you live by the gun, what happens? You die by the gun. So if you live by deception, deceiving people, it's coming for you. Yeah, that's how it works in life. You know why? Because you're simply saying that this is actually who I am. And I will show you what I can do more in terms of my character. So I'm not surprised that Mr. Mutsvangwa is actually going through what he's going through right now. And I'm not celebrating, but I'm simply saying, sir, we have been crying as a Zimbabwean people that let's build a Zimbabwe of respect and honor. A Zimbabwe where we have a currency that works for everybody. Where people don't have to be trading, behind everyone else's back, changing money. Imagine if we had a currency that was functioning when people could get into the bank, buy your own forex if you're traveling, or if you want to import something. Will we be in the position that we are in today? Definitely not. But look, because you did not listen to us, today your son is in prison. But I was like, he must taste, the mess that was created by his parents. Because we have been speaking, and the father has always been a gatekeeper for ZANU-PF. And I remember last time as well when they said Chamisa wanted to have a chat with President Mnangagwa. Some allegations were he was at the forefront, trying to block the conversation between Nelson Chamisa and Mnangagwa. But here's the thing that I'm going to say to you while I'm there. I want to say to Chamisa, his prayers are being heard. The heavens are open. One thing I'll tell you that I'm afraid of is the people that can go to God in prayer. Okay? If I do something wrong and you can confront me, if you keep quiet, I'm like, I'm afraid because I know you will go to God in prayer. And the one above, when he answers, you know what? By fire. Yes. Guys, what people did to Chamisa was the worst that you guys did. And gaslighting and lying that this man was a bad man, creating all manner of shenanigans, and you thought you were going to get away with it. No, guys, it doesn't work like that. This man, his prayers are being heard, and God is going to fight for him heavily. Unfortunately, God hasn't started yet. This is simply, it's just God is kind of testing the waters, but the real deal of vengeance is coming. God said vengeance is mine. So relax. When someone do you wrong, when I fight your battles, I'm afraid of people that goes to God in prayer. I'm afraid. Different reactions today. X was on fire. A lot was happening today. People were back and forth, talking about Mutsvangwa. And also some people were alleging that Mutsvangwa said something today. It's social media's on buzz. They also Standard is reporting that Mutsvangwa fumes over Sani's arrest. They also said that says ZANU-PF Mafikizolo to blame. He also went to say hints at vicious power struggles. It's an issue of power. We all know that. That's why I have respect for Mutambara. Do you remember what Mutambara said last year? That you guys beware. Beware of being robbed into ZANU-PF's factional fights. It's not what we want. Zimbabweans want freedom. We are not interested in greedy, power-hungry people. What we want is a Zimbabwe that functions for everybody. Unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know if I can say un or forge, because why I say so, President Mnangagwa is on record today, but talking about unity and love, praying for your country, success is coming. I'm like, sir, we were hoodwinked in 2017. We are no longer going to accept the lies anymore. Like in this era, we want people who are speaking truth to power. Not only do they speak, but also back up what they say by actions. The actions of ZANU-PF do not even take us anywhere. But he has been preaching love and respect, unity, come together to build your country. You also have seen Auxilia Mnangagwa is actually on a campaign trail, schools, cooking all over the country. I said this, ma'am, people don't want you to cook a meal for them. They want to cook for themselves. They want an economy that functions, so they are able to buy food for their children, take care of their families like you do. What about tomorrow? Tomorrow, what are they going to eat? And they went on to say that state apparatus being abused. So Mutsvangwa says they are using state apparatus and just to fight against him. Some people are saying it is lawfare against Mutsvangwa. We can see it. Mutsvangwa was recused from his position as a minister, and also immediately after that, we saw what happened with the wife. The wife was moved from the broadcasting side where the real communication lies, and also being pushed so he can work with the girls. You had him, we had that she's on record saying that this is a political fight against my son. My son does not do any illegal deals. But also allegations are, when the police went to arrest him, apparently he was hiding. The police could not see him. He wasn't in the house. They said he was hiding between the wall and the dustbins. So I can only imagine. This thing is a bigger one. But I'm still thinking that Mutsvangwa is not telling the truth. Are you telling me that Mutsvangwa didn't know that the son, number one, he actually had Sterling at his house? And I remember that he's the one who started selling Sterling before, all this Sterling, conversation started on social media. You were selling Sterling to Zimbabweans, and people started complaining. You are saying that we should not have Sterling, but Neville is selling. All of that, again, Mutsvangwa did not know. Did not know. No, did not know. Okay, just to actually to keep you up to speed with the campaign for Kasukuwere before we get into really what's going on currently, is that the guy that was the chief communication officer for Kasukuwere last year, his name is Alinaka. He said, I don't care what church, tribe, political party, opposition you hold in Zimbabwe. If you are looting, I'm coming for you. I don't take words lightly. I do not take words lightly. And I was like, wow. And don't forget, he actually had to pause also with the cartoon that was actually made by Zim Daily when they were addressing, the statement that was spoken by, if you remember, not Chombo, you remember last year when they were on a comment trail, and then one of ZANU-PF's big wigs said, "Passing Mbava." Do you remember that? I'm still trying to refresh my memory on the actually name of the ZANU-PF bigwig. The one that has got white hair, when he said Pastor Mbava. So he's saying that, don't worry, everybody, I'm coming for you. So I'm like, wow, this is getting interesting. And he went on to say that the next opposition front in Zimbabwe will be organic. National issues will bring like-minded citizens together. Don't force it. Let these people fight for themselves, and then after that we can have a Zimbabwe that works for everyone, where we truly have conversations. So they keep on throwing, tweets, online. This is the campaign for Kasukuwere. But I also told you that some people in ZANU-PF are saying, no, Kasukuwere should come in and actually stand as the candidate for 2028 against Nelson Chamisa and the other politicians. Some are saying that Mutsvangwa's son is being represented by Kasukuwere Satoni. And again, on its own, Aseni comes a bit of a shock on the streets and said, hold on, how can the attorney that was actually representing Kasukuwere is now representing Neville, that is Mutsvangwa's child? Considering that, what has been happening in the space. Does that necessarily mean that Mutsvangwa, together Chiwenga, because also know that there have been allegations that Chiwenga is working with Kasukuwere. Does that mean that Chiwenga, Kasukuwere, and Mutsvangwa are going to rally against ED? Because you have seen ED pushing the dynasty, the dynasty, mantra for the past few weeks or months, even a year, because the 2013 Ndenge Chiripo is not putting. Notwithstanding your constitution that does not allow me to extend my stay, he does not care. He also talks about 2010 report. He's talking about the third term, which people said no, and he bastardized and said no, not at all. Now I'm seeing the campaign, and I'm also seeing him now. Campaigning like today's speech that he did. I don't know if you guys heard him. The speech he did today at the Roman Catholic Church, he was talking like this person who's very, very, very genuine and authentic, who has a heart to make Zimbabwe a better place. And I'm listening, I'm like, last time I checked, the President Mnangagwa has never been a person who gives such a speech of love, of unity, how the church is so amazing, the church should pray for him so at least he can lead people properly. He also talked when he says that when the church pray for us and then we are at peace, then it's easier for me to rule, and I can rule, and I can rule. This is President Mnangagwa on record say that today. And I'm saying to myself, is this about ruling or is it about leadership? No, for the president on record, it's about ruling. You know, it says, pray for me so that I can rule and rule and rule you going forward. And also allegations are, you saw your so-called fake prophet, that is Java, who claimed that he would have he would fill in the sports stadium, which he did not. It was not even a quarter of the people that was in there. He was seen today as well with President Mnangagwa was holding a briefcase and his wife sitting very comfortably, and they are smiling. And people are saying, don't be hoodwinked. These people are smuggling your minerals. These again are allegations that are just being dropped on social media. Now you also saw my post story. I don't know if you guys saw my post story. First and foremost, on my post story part, again, people saying that they are busy, smuggling our minerals to Dubai, pretending like they are going on holiday. First, guys, hold on. First and foremost, I know my post story very well. Okay, I'm not trying to be disrespectful here. I know the situation in Zimbabwe. Some are saying no, but there are apostles that are very successful and rich that can afford, first and foremost, bags were all the same color, white colors. And it seems like these bags were literally bought brand new bags for them. Not only their bags, also the small handbags. When you've got these trolley bags, you can have a trolley and a smaller one. It seems like they were brand new, spanking new, were bought. Even their uniforms were like spanking new, bought as well. But when they were walking, getting to the plane, and this plane, allegations are, it was never searched. They didn't even go through. They did not go through the processes at Robert Mugabe. They just went to their plane. Videos were being taken. They landed in Dubai. You can see that they are walking, eating all class and large. The Mapostori again. People are saying, no, they are simply smuggling your minerals. Because now they know, so they are always playing dirty tricks. How much can that cost to buy a person a trolley bag? I know those trolley bags, they cost maybe 2 point something, depending on 3,000 rand. The smaller ones can be cost about maybe 1.7 to almost 2,000 rand. And you can see how confused they were. Because first, I know if your husband is successful, your husband is successful and you have gone through the process of seeing the money and work for the money. There's a way that you kind of carry yourself. These ones, they were carrying them so much confusion that they didn't have a clue of what was really going on. And people are saying, no, they are smuggling your minerals to Dubai. And you're now seeing them, by the desert there, all poshy with some of these Arabs. That's the Zimbabwe that we are in today. It's quite sad to watch. And they were back and forth today on social media, people fight. Now, what I want you to take a listen to is actually the speech of President Mnangagwa talking today, and where he was claiming that you need to pray for me so that I can rule and rule. He was talking to the church, the Roman Catholic Church, speaking so eloquently, and like he's very much positive about where Zimbabwe is going. And I'm like, sir, we've been there in 2017. We were hoodwinked very clearly. In 2024, we are not going to be hoodwinked again. We are going to be smart, play this very safely. We are not dumb anymore. Zimbabweans are wiser and wiser based on not on what they've heard, but based on experience. So we're going to listen to President Mnangagwa speaking at the Roman Catholic Church, where he was, yeah. He's a completely different person. This speech is quite different. Take a listen, please.
Vanozouya mangwana isu takanganisa nyika magariro ayo. Vanouya kwandobva ini kuzvishavani kwambodzi shabhani kudhara. Zvino ivavo kweritoti kana wanga uri nhubu usingauzizi wanga uri bhinya mshakoduku wafa toti zimbora masare rafa torova gwa neshamuimuka mumasani. Asi kana wanga uri munhu wakanaka anovaka anowirana vamwe guva rinotsvaigwa. Saka tsika iyoyo yakangofanana nechikristu, kuti zvakanaka zvinorumbidzwa, zvakaipa hazvisungiri kurumbidzwa, ngazvitukwe. Zvino kereke, Roman Catholic Church namamwe makereke, pane ndigere apo uku kuna General Chiwenga akakurira muRoman Catholic. Ndokupai secret yaChiwenga Archbishop, so akange achiseva zvoita vakomana duku ava ndozvaaita. But paainesa waini kumba kuyauko aibawa saka mumunamatirevo nokuti akamboba waini yaBishop. Ndataura chokwadi hazvina ndava. It has come to my knowledge that you received a personal invitation from the Holy Father, Pope Francis, to attend the second phase of the synodal meeting later this year. Vakakokwa kwete kudamwa asi kukokwa kuti vaende kwa Papa, baba sekuru vaende kwani kwa Papa. Zvino rimwe gore vaMugabe vakokwa pinda kwa Papa, ini ndiri mujinga mavo, zvikanzema ndakokwa kupi kwa Papa ku Rome nzvimbo yacho Vatican. Very good. Ku Vatican. Zvino kanzi emasotonawo saka takapedza 3 days after work ndaenda kumba kuti mundidzidzisa kudai mu kwa Mugabe anzi nokuti ku Methodist atideroka, saka vakaita 3 days vachindidzisa kuti kana wadai unodai ozoenda so 3 days until he said he was now satisfied that I am doing it correctly. So we went to the Vatican. Tasika kuya anditi munoona kuti imba yaPapa yakakura, pane window apo pavanozomira achitaura kuvanhu. Taenda vana pontifi ikoko, patasvika indabviswa pana Mugabe kwaichinda uku ndobva ndapiwa vomwe bishop kana bishop nyazi wakandisa kumwe waMugabe ndobva wapinda majekuri kunana naPapa. Discrimination ke yakaitika, saka Papa ndakuvaona ndakuvaona vakaonekwa nani naMugabe.
You know, when you hear President Mnangagwa speaking in the sense, in the sense of like the sense of humor, you ask yourself questions that why are we having all these problems in the country with the way that he speaks? Like he's like, do we have a problem with the military junta? What's going on? When he speaks the sense of humor, you're like, oh yeah, you know, I mean, what a person. Now take a listen to what he actually said the last bit of.
Now, me as president, anybody who preaches peace, love, harmony, and peace is my friend. Because then the country will be peaceful. The country will be united. And I can rule, and they rule, and they rule. Now, me as president, Anybody who preaches peace, love, or harmony and peace is my friend. Because then the country will be peaceful. The country will be united. And I can rule, and they rule, and they rule.
You just said something, and people are busy clapping and laughing. It's not even fun at all. Let me explain to you what you just said something. Yeah, I think sometimes we take words lightly. I think my brothers and sisters take words so lightly. You just said something. Yeah, when you guys unite, because I can woodwink and you guys can unite, and then I can rule and rule. It's not about leadership here. Is it? I can rule. It is I can lead. I can rule. There's a difference. And people are laughing. Yeah, there is something wrong. People are laughing. And it's not even fun at all. It's not even funny. All right, great analysis here before we proceed to talk about the shenanigans. Bretton Matebuka wrote a great analysis about the issue of Mutsvangwa and what's going on with the Sunny right now. You also remember that there was an audio that was circulating yesterday regarding what Monica Mutsvangwa said about the arrest of her son. So this is what it says: a critical analysis of Monica Mutsvangwa's alleged leaked audio. Says that there's no point in dwelling on aspects of the audio where there is no reference to assertions that Neville is innocent. Firstly, the matter is sub judice or before the court. Secondly, every accused is innocent until proven guilty. Thirdly, surely it is the duty of every parent to beg their child to the hilt in such a situation. Agreed. The juiciest part of the audio centers on references to the alleged motive for the arrest being persecution, presumably that of a political nature. This is sensational given that Monica is a cabinet minister in ED's government as we speak. By interference, if she feels that Neville is being persecuted, then it has to be the regime that she and Chris are serving. If that is the case, then that clearly means that she and Chris neither trust the regime nor feel that they are part of the inner circle. If that is the situation, then one is forced to ask the question, why are they not resigning or fleeing while there is still time? The answer probably lies in the fact that joining ZANU-PF is like joining the mafia, where one is required to sign the omerta, a code of vow of silence, commit to this to death. If you do a runner, you give the impression that there is something you are hiding, or you're guilty of betrayal, or whatever you are accused of, which is perhaps even more dangerous. If Monica is rattled, then so is Chris, even though, of course, he has to fashion a poker face in public, pretend that it is a business as usual. We know that there was a recent fallout between ED and Chris. If Monica and Chris feel that Neville is being persecuted, then this likely suggests that ED has still not moved to reassure Chris that they are safe and still insiders following that fallout. If we know from Robert Mugabe, Nathan Shamyarira, Solomon Wijuru that they considered ED to be hard-hearted and also unforgiving, we also recently saw footage of Chris being publicly humiliated by ED when he was given the cold shoulder treatment at the airport during one of the customary welcome back shootings. That image projected at least 4 Secret Service figures who had their eyes trained on Chris as if to say, we've got a brief from ED to watch you closely. The effect of that cold treatment to dramatize the repairing of the relationship to regime insiders and mark Chris as an outsider henceforth until further notice. The sum total of all of the above suggests that perhaps Chris and Monica have been left hanging sort of in limbo, in a vacuum so they can stew. As a result of this, they and the regime insiders are perhaps not quite sure whether or not they will be retained to the fold as ED is still biding his time. The longer this goes on, the more Chris and Monica will feel paranoid about waiting for the proverbial political hangman's news, which Neville's arrest public launching yesterday only serving to heighten the anxiety and paranoia conclusion, the audio. The court treatment Chris publicly received from ED and Neville's dramatic arrest, humiliation via being sent to remand prison, and his difficulties in navigating the process of getting into the prison, Van clearly suggests that whatever the trigger for the rupture of the relationship, it is serious and potentially fatal to the extent of causing an irreversible breakdown in the relationship. The relationship certainly appears to be in a state of flux at the moment, sort of teetering on the brink of calamity. Yet it is still unthinkable to think that Chris and his family could be cast away permanently and excommunicated from Venice Kingdom. At this point, the hunch is that he will perhaps be eventually rehabilitated, as he clearly knows way too much about Vene to be left in choppy waters. This early in the TIFA or whatever the bone of contention is, it's either rehabilitation or a morbid encounter with the proverbial black cat. Whatever the situation is, there's no doubt that Chris and Monica feel that they have lost their affection, confidence, and protection of the big part familiars. The veritable Mwenemu Tapa himself, and it spells big trouble in the political seasons ahead. Quite interesting, and he's 150% right. I think the relationship is broken. It's completely broken because you see, I told you about the issue that the attorney that represented Saviour Kasukuwere is actually the one that is representing Neville, which is the son of Mutsvangwa. And you know how Mutsvangwa has been really paranoid as far as the his relationship and the president Mnangagwa is concerned. But one thing I'll tell you is, I think Chris has been planning something for a long time. One thing that I saw when I just followed through the tweets that goes down on X is that there's a bit of deception going on there. You may think that certain people who are campaigning for Kasukuwere don't really like Chris. No, they do like Chris, but they're just kind of playing the game, and you think, oh my God, these people don't even love each other. No, they do. So I really think, and I'm adamant on that Chris, and also you saw last time when President Mnangagwa was traveling, the face of VP Chiwenga, which was circulating actually also on Twitter, that it was quite he wasn't looking happy. You saw the wife last time when Chibai was actually landing with President Mnangagwa, the way they were looking at each other with Opami Chinguri, that things are not really, as you think, and because people can see what our president is kind of pushing. The wife is all over the place, she's campaigning, she's full-blown on a campaign trail, but at the same time, she's not the only one that is campaigning as well. There are also other people that are campaigning. One thing I'll tell you is my guns can tell me that they are heavily infiltrated. They don't know that because remember they've been infiltrating Chamisa. they infiltrated Chamisa, but they didn't know that they're also heavily infiltrated. So if you live by the gun, you die by the gun. All I'm just saying that if infiltration is what you use as a weapon, and people are very much aware because they've been studying you, follow your tricks, see how you play the game. They're like, no, we're gonna play the very same game. Without you thinking I'm very strong. No, I've got all my people there. No, Human beings can do anything, anytime. Can do anything anytime. But like I said to you yesterday, also don't forget that Jealous Mawarire is actually, I know Jealous has been, and you could hear him speaking about, the stance of, Saviour Kasukuwere. He is kind of on that anchor, pushing on the other side, because you remember he was together with Robert Mugabe. So definitely, he's also someone who feels disgruntled by the leadership. You can see by his tweets on X, he keeps on throwing messages there that he thinks this administration is completely failed. Also, we know that they've been completely failed, but his submissions always kind of think that no, this is not going to last forever. Because I do remember when someone was talking about the issue of the 2030 and the third term, and he said, that was Jealous Mawarire said, just pray that he's actually going to finish this term, because that may not even happen, Again, the return of Saviour to that page talking, they keep on saying that, Saviour is coming back full blown. One thing that I just want to tell you is that for me, you know where I stand, right? You know where I stand. And I love what's going on right now in ZANU-PF because it's actually opening a door so that at least we can have the freedom that we always wanted. By the way, they have been playing a lot of dirty in there. But I must say to ZANU-PF supporters that because you have been leaning on wrong, you have to come out the very same way. You're gonna fight within your camps and boot each other there, but still in the end we win. Unfortunately, it's a principle. When you when you treat people badly, you're not gonna escape. Mamfunga zinopera sego. Mamfunga zinopera se. Mamfunga zinopera se. Zinopera mapere waya. Murutopeza na ibaba That's exactly what's supposed to happen. So let's take a listen to jealousy, because jealousy is something that I'm very much interested in right now as far as this war administration and the end game of this, because Dr. Walter Muzambi said something so interesting this evening. He literally said how it started, and he was talking about the relationship that President Mnangagwa had with Mugabe and all other, politicians then, Manarugare Gumbo, and he said how it ended. No, he was not referring to President Mnangagwa sitting with, the guy, what's his name, man? Your fake prophet. What is his name? It's just a waste of my time. That's why I don't normally want to talk about him. What's his name again? The young man, this one, that is got dreadlocks. That was kind of trying to portray success, but no, we know there's nothing going on there. What is his name? Java. Yes, Java. So he was sitting with Java's gun. That's how it's going to end right here. Java, he said how we start is not how we're going to finish. So they're not backing up. You can see the tweets that we are very close. We are very close. There's something bubbling right now. Something is bubbling big time. Mutsvangwa is not gonna let this pass. No, he was at the forefront in 2017. I don't think it's just gonna say, okay, guys, rehabilitate me, let me be a failure. It's a lie. They won't tell you, like what happened in 2017. They pretend like everything is okay, letting you do your thing, talk all you want. But no, at the back, things are not, are boiling. They are boiling big time. So we're gonna take a listen now to jealousy, please.
You say that's freedom? You say that's democracy? That's not it. Unless we agree, guys, that what happened in 2017 is not the best way of ensuring succession in a democratic dispensation. Look at what has happened in Mozambique. Their meeting, it was supposed to be one day, it went on for 3 days. They came up with a 47-year-old presidential candidate. That's what other countries are doing. But we can't do that ourselves. We have a constitution right now which says a president can go for 2 terms, 2 five-year terms, which is a total of 10 years, isn't it? But no, we are seeing people campaigning 2030, 2030, 2030. 2030 what's that?
The president is denied.
And this is
denied.
No, but his members keep on doing that.
Is it not enough for him to deny?
Minister Njue is a senior member of the political party, and he's saying 2030. But the constitution outlaws that. So what is it? How does he envision him to be there in 2030?
Will be alive?
No, but 2030. No, but being alive, can we actually go on campaigning that Dara will be alive in 2030? Who knows? Who even knows that I will be alive tomorrow? Even your sangomas, they don't even know. So we cannot actually have a campaign that is based on predicting that someone will be alive in 2030. Of course, who said he will be dead in 2030? But we are saying constitutionally he's not supposed to be president in 2030. So when you are saying he will be there, he will be in power. And mind you, they're not saying Vanity in power. How do you become? How do you continue in power after your term has expired? And these are things that you know, they muddy the waters.
Let's talk about, let me take you to Parliament. Do you think that Parliament, as it is composed right now, is useful for democracy in Zimbabwe and the people of Zimbabwe?
It's not useful. It's not only unuseful, but it is also illegal. The current Parliament is illegally constituted.
How so?
Because it doesn't meet the constitutional provisions of Section 17 of the Constitution, for instance, which makes it a prerequisite that we should have at least 50% women in that Parliament. And that is a constitutional provision that we put in ourselves as a people, and we have not had any discussion around how we can achieve that. And we have not had a discussion on why even this current legislative arm is unconstitutional. It is unconstitutional on the basis of the provisions of Section 70, Section 80, I think, of the Constitution, because it doesn't meet those provisions.
But the
requirement that they should be at least 50%.
But those provisions, aren't they contradictory to the first past the post provision that is within the same constitution?
No, the first past the post is not in the constitution.
How do you elect your members of parliament?
No, by secret ballot. Secret ballot does not mean first past the post, because you can use proportional representation still using secret ballot. And we should actually be sitting here and making discussions that we should have an electoral system that should ensure that the outcome adheres to the provisions in our constitution. That's the discussions that we should make.
So how do you do that? How do you make those provisions that you talk about by successful, without taking away my personal right to be represented by a leader of my choice?
No, but if you use proportional representation, are you saying you are not being led by a leader of your choice?
Yes.
So in the event that your president that you directly elected, in the unfortunate event that he passes on before the end of his term, or he resigns, how do you replace him? According to the current constitution, you go back to the political party. You assume, that's where the disconnection for me is, because we have a system that assumes that the president is directly elected by the people, isn't it? But when that president that we purport to have been directly elected by the people, if he passes on or he resigns, he is replaced by someone who is not directly elected by the people. Actually, the assumption then becomes, when you die or when you resign, the people in the first place did not elect you. They elected your party. That's why your party then sits down and gives us a success.
That clause has expired because
no.
It hasn't. It expired. It was a 10-year.
No.
It was a 10-year.
No.
It's under the sixth schedule. It's under the sixth schedule.
No.
It was for 10 years. What it provided for was that for the first 10 years of the life of the Constitution, when a president dies, right, the party that elected that president would sit and replace. But now, after 2013, 10 years have passed. Now, if a president dies, the vice president becomes acting president for 90 days and we go to an election.
No, that's not it. If that was the issue, then you would be having by-elections if a president goes. That's not the current situation. The situation And I'm saying that's how clumsy the Constitution. I don't know what informed the drafters of the Constitution to come up with such a funny arrangement where you purport to give the people the power to directly elect a president. But if that president dies, maybe, let's say, for instance, a month after being elected, what happens? There's no by-election. There's no provision for a by-election. Go revisit the Constitution. The Constitution says the person who is supposed to replace that president is supposed to be elected by the party. The assumption is that the party was the one that was elected. Mind you, we're supposed to, after 2023, we're supposed to have now the running mate, isn't it? The running mate was supposed to be the one who takes over.
Yes. So that is the aspect about 10 years.
The provision of the running mate is now under amendments to do away with.
It was removed. It was actually removed.
Yes. So we are stuck with a situation where your so-called right to elect a president only applies to a general election, to a harmonized election. But after the harmonized election, you no longer have that right. Yeah. If your president that you elected dies or resigns, then
you address the issue of
the assumption is that you did not elect him. You elected the party. So if it is about electing the party, why can't we just elect parties, political parties? I'm a big fan of electing political parties because it depersonalizes our politics. Because the problem with our politics currently is that it's personality driven.
But even on that,
the statement of personality is always, okay, I know whenever Paul mentioned this, is only referring to, Nelson Chamisa, of course, but someone saying that also because even in ZANU-PF as well, there's personality in terms of President Emmerson Mnangagwa. I think there is a disconnect between how ZANU-PF is running their stuff and where we are going right now. In the new Zimbabwe, we're not going to allow this drama that we're seeing today. This generation can't buy it. We don't even understand what they're doing. You know, we understand that, first and foremost, we know Mugabe came into place because of the Lancaster negotiations, first and foremost. And people loved him. The black people loved him. But they did not say he must stay in power forever. You know, so don't confuse someone who kept on holding on to power unnecessarily. That was Robert Mugabe and Nelson Chamisa. Because whenever people talk of personality, they're bastardizing the love that people has for Chamisa. Like whenever they say Nelson Chamisa, oh no, it's about personality. So in the end, we're always going to have a leader, isn't it? We're going to rally for a president, correct? I just can't wait to see that the election that is coming. I'm talking about the free and fair, not all these shenanigans we've been seeing over the years, simply wasting our time. So Trevor Ngove is saying we have a tendency to think that there is a silver bullet to a problem such as a new political party, a new constitution, or a political messiah. The past 44 years have proven there is no such silver bullet. Fundamentally important is figuring out the cocktail of the things we must fix to get the whole sorted. And I completely agree, Zimbabweans, we need to be honest with one another. It's our mentality the problem. You know, sometimes I don't even blame these politicians because they simply have a backup of gullible individuals. You know, because where Zimbabwe is today is just, you know, something that was posted when someone said, you know, the person said, we just wait if then President Mnangagwa leave, what is going to happen to those that have been bootlicking him? And the person said, this is why we don't want him to leave. And I was like, hold on. Can you see the mentality? Yeah, so that's why we don't want him to leave, because we know that if he leaves, then what are we going to do? And it's a fact, because there are people that are incompetent who literally relying on the Zimbabwe must just remain the way it is so that at least we are able to just lean on someone else, you know? And which is a sad situation, because life really is about you know, execute your purpose. It's nothing to do with who can be the person who you can bootlick. No. It is really sad. It's the mentality of the problem, Zimbabwean. It's our mentality. There are some people right now who don't even want that we can have a president like Nelson Chamisa. But in Mozambique, chose a 47-year-old. You saw what happened in Senegal. They chose a 44-year-old. But we have a problem with a 46-year-old if he can lead Zimbabweans. What is our problem? It's us, the people. So we rather be stuck in suffering because I just don't want him to be Charissa. I'm a firm believer that if we elect a president, I'm talking about honestly, faithfully, holistically, we have the powers to impeach the person. But imagine if you don't elect the person, the people that have put them there, they've got the power to control. It's even worse if the allegations are is a military junta. Just tell me what are you going to do with the military? You know what I mean? I can only imagine. So it's really about time that we get to know our value and say, we deserve better. We Zimbabweans, we deserve better. And we need to do what's right for Zimbabwe. Not for individuals. For Zimbabwe. Just so we have a normal country that people respect. A country that everyone just look and said, hey, this is really amazing. When are we going to do that? Because we keep on kind of receiving all this embarrassment. And speaking of the embarrassment, I'm going to talk about ZANU-PF. You saw a video that was circulating that ANC is on record saying that they would actually need to know how ZANU-PF was able to retain some of their cities or constituencies. They call them metropolitan here. And the Parliament of South Africa wrote a letter and said, bastardizing those allegations that no, we are worried that the ZANU-PF, after all the mess they've caused in Zimbabwe, would want to have a hand on our elections. So the letter was sent out from the Parliament of Zimbabwe, and I'm going to read actually the most important points. It says, concerns regarding ZANU-PF's involvement in observing South Africa's elections, which makes a lot of sense. Guys, as Zimbabweans, we are crying with ZANU-PF. Now ZANU-PF wants to actually transport their shenanigans to other countries. I can only imagine them messing up South Africa. They said, I write to you as the president of the African Transformation Movement, ATM, to express our grave concerns regarding the recent reports indicating that ZANU-PF, the ruling party of Zimbabwe, intends to participate as part of an observer mission of the upcoming elections in South Africa. We strongly condemn the notion of ZANU-PF being allowed to observe our elections due to several significant reasons. Firstly, Zimbabwe has a well-documented history of electoral malpractice and voter fraud in recent years, which seriously undermines the credibility of any electoral process they are involved in. Allowing ZANU-PF to observe our elections risks tarnishing the legitimacy and credibility of our own electoral processes. Zimbabwe has faced serious allegations in conducting free and fair elections, as evidenced by reports from various international organizations over the years. Furthermore, permitting ZANU-PF to observe our elections is not only concerning due to their track record, but also because of their close association with the ruling party in South Africa, the African Congress, National Congress, the ANC. Recent reports have suggested that the ANC has sought assistance from ZANU-PF in the election campaign. This raises serious questions about the impartiality and independence of any observation mission involving ZANU-PF in South Africa. Therefore, we urge the Independent Electoral Commission of South Africa to reject any participation of ZANU-PF in the observation of our elections. Instead, we recommend engaging countries and organizations with established track records of upholding democratic principles and conducting free and fair elections. It is imperative that we safeguard the integrity of our electoral process and uphold the trust of South African people in our democratic institutions. Allowing ZANU-PF to participate in a capacity would undermine these fundamental principles. We trust the IEC, which is the independent commission that runs the elections, will give due consideration to our concerns and take appropriate action to ensure that the upcoming elections in South Africa are conducted in a transparent, credible, and impartial manner. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Actually, I want to say shout out to ATM for doing so, because ZANU-PF cannot qualify to actually, give anyone counsel at all. ZANU-PF is a political party. It's an institution that is definitely, this party is entrenched in a lot of evil. That's how I want to call it. Yeah, I don't believe that people who actually are evil can actually give good counsel, It's like expecting the devil, the devil. Okay, but you know, I mean, it's an institution, and I love my brothers and sisters, but the fact remains, their systems are evil. They're not worth transporting to anybody. They're not worthy of building anything. In fact, they're ruining everything. When we look at our nation today, all these shenanigans we are talking about now, it's a waste of our time. Because you know what we should be talking about? Maybe today we could be talking about what's going on with the youth, or what's happening with the women's ministry, or what's happening with the buildings, what's going on in maybe the mining industry. Can we see what happened there with our gold and our diamond, or what's also happening in the transport sector? Talking about the railway sector. No, we're not. We seem like going back and forth in an election mode all the time, and people are sick and tired. And this is being initiated by ZANU-PF as a political party. So I think ATM are right. They're not worth of any counsel, given to anybody. No, not ZANU-PF. They must try Rwanda at least. And I'm saying this and I mean it. Try Rwanda because at least something is happening in Rwanda, at least. And like I said, I'm saying this in love. But sometimes we have to be honest with one another and say if you're not good at what you're doing, you're just not good at what you're doing. And it's okay. I saw them gallivanting in India where they were saying they were actually, monitoring elections. And again, in Russia, as much as I know people love Putin, and with all my respect for Russia, but did you guys saw what was happening in Russia during the elections when people were burning ballot boxes? But I saw Makanya Chigumba confirming that the election was free and fair. South Africa is right. Please keep your integrity, safeguard your borders, and do what's right. And when I say your borders, I don't mean I'm just safeguard your integrity. I know what you're not perfect, we know, but at least try. You don't want what's going on in Zimbabwe here. No. But also don't forget that there's the allegations that almost like 70% of our gold gets refined here in South Africa. 70% of our gold. Now you need to start asking yourself questions. How is it coming here? Who is going to benefit from there? Your guess is as good as mine. It's as good as mine. Not only the gold, we're going to talk about lithium as well, right? Again, I heard that they always transport raw materials. I also heard about tobacco as well, right? Who's going to benefit from there? And why protecting each other? Of course, but at the backdrop of our suffering. So with that being said, no. It's time that truth has to be spoken, and we must come out of this mess by all means, unfortunately. By all means. Okay, moving on. Rutendo Matinyana is also on record bastardizing Mutsvangwa, and he is accusing Mutsvangwa that Mutsvangwa is saying there's a terrorist attack while defending biological warfare. Hold on. Terrorist attack while defending biological warfare. So he said there has to be something wrong with Ambassador Mutsvangwa warning about a terrorist threat in Zimbabwe. But he is the same man protecting a company that is putting cancer-causing toxins in various organizations and also that threaten our food security and unlicensed GMOs in our food chain to feed the masses of Zimbabweans. The company he's protecting, which the VP called an enemy of Zimbabwe, sounds like a bigger threat to Zimbabwe. He was also the first person to SMS me threatening me with illegal action from INSCO. I wonder what's in it for him. Is he a director of INSCO or a beneficiary? Save our lives hashtag INSCO versus Rutendo. You know Rutendo has been taken direct to court by INSCO for alleging that their GMOs will cause cancer to Zimbabweans. So while I'm there, first and foremost, we are on record as the president asking for donations towards the food security. Point number one, all right. We also know that there have been countries actually, on record as well, kind of assisting our people with food. So I want to ask, are these organic foods, or they're also still products of GMOs? Because it's one thing to complain about these GMOs, but it's another thing that we still receive maybe assistance from different countries against you under the very same products. So to me, is that not double standard, Rutendo? But Rutendo is a mouthful. He says anything that he wants, but he must be very careful. Okay, Rutendo must really be very careful. There were a lot of people. I'm about to say something. Where is Lumumba? Lumumba was as mouthful as Rutendo is. Rutendo, you must be very careful. That's all I can say. All right, so Whitney Shiva decided to drop his house on social media now, so you guys can see the glimpse of his house. The interior of the house, and also the interior and also the outside of the property. It's got a very huge, beautiful, very nice house. And as a person who does property, I know house very well. It's really a very nice house, But I want to say this. I want to send a message because I've seen the reactions on social media as far as that house is concerned. I want to say to you, brothers and sisters, you're doing well, okay? Because some people, okay, you're doing well for yourself. Don't ever worry about what you see on social media. Because this is a man, and I'm saying this honestly, who just got divorced about a month or so ago. We saw the wife on record, and we saw the fights on social media as well. And with such a big house, beautiful house, well decorated, I'm talking of top class furniture inside. But that house don't have anybody inside. Okay, you just heard me. What I was expecting was to see families having dinner and lunch. So there was a 12-seater table, and with my 8-seater, I always have my family around. I can only imagine having an 8-seater. As a matter of fact, I only bought an 8-seater because of family. There was no reason for me to buy the 8-seater. I'm only alone. I'm still single. But this guy has got a 12-seater table. Beautiful tables, really top-class furniture. But the house is empty. You need to start asking yourself questions. And I'm saying this to the single women. Will you cry in a mansion where there's no peace? Or you'd rather smile while you are in your lower class house and kissing and hugging with your wife and see your family sitting around it or having smiling and be playing and dancing? Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying? It's not everything that you see on social media that looks glamorous that makes sense. Okay? And again, I'm a firm believer that when people are showing off, it's a sign that they lack peace. You just heard me. Real successful people are not too loud. They're very calm in whatever they do, right? They're very calm. So don't worry about what Wikino is doing. He's simply just throwing those steps so that he can just make people worship him, thinking that, oh my God, this man is living the life. And by the way, someone told me as well that he was seen in Sandton with bodyguards. Yeah, I had a report that he was in Sandton gallivanting around with bodyguards. The men just all of a sudden get all this traction, and which is quite fascinating, in a Zimbabwean context. What's going on in ZANU-PF and what's coming up these days that we are approaching are going to be very, very interesting. You must thank God where you are and don't worry about what you see. Don't worry about it. It's all, in the end, everything is vanity. Trust me, in the end, everything is what? Vanity. All right, so we're going to move on. The headliners for ZANU-PF as well. Okay, guys, can people just leave Chamisa alone? Okay? Can people leave Chamisa alone, please? Chamisa resigned. We have a current president in Triple C on a rotational basis. By the way, I think it's almost a few days left for Mnangagwa to pass the baton. I think tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, under the Triple C thing, where there are fights going on currently. It's a story that I need to deal with it on his own. Between Songezo Shavangu and other guys, they're fighting now. It's all about the money, right? So Tino Tenda, hardliner for ZANU-PF, he's sending a message out. Again, attacking Chamisa. Chamisa is at home. You went to the EU meeting, Chamisa was there, smiling, taking pictures, just living his life. And this was the message that he sends out. He said, Nelson Chamisa, former leader for Citizen Coalition for Change, attended the EU Day celebration yesterday, but he was notably absent from Murambinda on the 18th of April, which is the Independence Day. This absence speaks volumes about his true priorities and loyalties. Nelson Chamisa, like his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, okay, maybe I may pronounce it wrong, please just say bless you, appears to be more concerned with pleasing the interests of the West than with representing the needs and concerns of the Zimbabwean people. By attending the EU Day celebration while neglecting other national events, Chamisa is sending a clear message to the people of Zimbabwe. He is more interested in carrying favor with the West than in advancing the interests of his own country. His absence from Rambinda, a rural district in Manicaland province, further highlights his disconnection from the everyday struggles of Zimbabweans outside of the urban centers. While Nelson Chamisa's attendance at the EU Day might be seen as a gesture of diplomacy or international cooperation, his neglect of national events raises serious questions about his commitment to the people of Zimbabwe. As a national leader, he should be striving to unite the country, not to create divisions by ignoring important events that hold meaning for large segments of the population. Again, gaslighting from ZANU-PF hardliners. Extreme gaslighting. Okay. Because first and foremost, Nelson Chamisa resigned from any political thing. Anything you call political, he resigned. You're gaslighting and call him that he's playing with the Western puppets. Another satanic rhetoric that is ZANU-PF like to throw all the time, because we know you are the ones who are gallivanting with the West. Most of the monies that are being looted in Zimbabwe are being stashed in Europe, correct? And also European Union is on record saying that they're happy to do business with the ZANU-PF, leadership, which is the government, the incumbent, actually. They're on record. So why is not Chamisa coming to this whole thing? You don't have no content without mentioning Nelson Chamisa's name. And it has to stop. It really has to stop. And by the way, that can show you who's leading the country. Even a person in the absence, even after they're resigning, you're still talking about them. That says a lot, right? That says a lot. That really says a lot. It is not fair, because we all know the people that are genuinely selling the country out. We know who they are. The people that are looting our resources in the country. The people that even the President Mnangagwa was confirming about corruption. Even we saw the gold mafia as well. We know. And he's also confirming that there are people who are looting resources in the country. We saw a few days ago as well, ZAC, Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission as well, confirming that we are losing almost $1.8 billion every year, through financial illicit flows. We're talking about 1.8 billion, guys. To run Zimbabwe per year, they said, how much do we need? If I'm not mistaken, Tendai BT mentioned that. I think I may mention the wrong figures here. To sustain our country every year. But we are losing almost 1.8 billion. Now you wonder why. Again, the ZAC, chairwoman, she's on record again confirming the same thing, that Zimbabwe is losing money that should be catered for people through this loot. That's why I said don't celebrate people, because majority of them are going to lose a lot. Because the Zimbabwe that is coming up, people are going to trace each and every looter. Every thief is going to return what they've stolen, unfortunately. So they must enjoy it while it lasts. I said even handbags. We could be selling on a Louis Vuitton, because I know how much a handbag for Louis Vuitton costs. I don't own one because I don't even need it. It costs almost 150,000 rands, 200,000 in her handbag. So it's a lot of money there that we can actually build maternity theaters, that we can build toilets, we can, because we don't even have, I mean, really? Really? Yeah. Speaking of the issue of toilets, do you also know that the President of Mnangagwa allegations are he commissioned a ground that didn't have toilets, and this ground was built by Walter Magaya. Walter Magaya is also definitely being accused of a lot of corruption, and you call him is your papa, right? the other thing that's going to come up, that you need to know prior, is that there's going to be reforms in the religion sector or in the spiritual sector. All fake prophets are going to be banned in Zimbabwe. It's coming, like what happened in Russia. So no, not Russia, Rwanda. It's coming. Every fake prophet, you need to show where you study, what did you study, which university. Your credentials are needed for you to actually have to run a church in the country. Because we have a lot of looters who are masquerading as pastors and they're thieves, who are hiding behind the church, using the name of Jesus Christ to loot and lie to the people. They are going to reform the church sector. So if you are that person that has been lying, they're coming for you. They're coming for you. So be warned. They're coming for you. It's there. They are busy throwing that information that we are going to take everything away from every thief. It's going to be very interesting in Zimbabwe. You thought you were smart. No, you were not smart. You are not smart. It's that time where you need to give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So please, prepare the way. Make sure you're telling your papas that, these people are going to come for you, every thief. It's not me. It's there on social media. They keep on posting that we are coming to take back what belongs to us. Yeah, very, very interesting. Here's the thing. Like I said to you guys, I think whatever prayer that Chamisa is praying, I'm saying amen. Okay, cheers, sir. Pressing up, prayers up. Because, guys, do you remember the interview that was done by Mafume? When he was sitting like a god, you remember that? Was it the yellow chair? What color was that chair? When he was sitting like a god. Shout out to Mafume. Do you remember that chair? You remember it? Now he's being investigated. When are people going to learn as far as what ZANU-PF does is concerned? Everyone knows that ZANU-PF game. They play chess very, very. They know how to lure you into stuff, and you think, oh my God. Like they can hook you in, right? You think, oh, they love me. Now it's being investigated now. And you know where this is going. You know where it's going, right? You know where it's going. He's now being investigated. Now, Paul was actually laughing about it. He said, these Shamangu councillors need to be investigated. They're on a spending spree since they know this is their last term. People know that this Shamangu thing is ending. So there's fight within the Shamangu camps against other Mulilo. I know it's a spokesperson, I think, for the Triple C. They said that they want to fire Shamangu, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because they're fighting for the money, and I was asking myself and said, why they're even being given the money for, first and foremost? What money are they being given for? Because honestly, I think that this is just not fair, because people didn't do anything. All they're doing is just getting the money. And Solomon said, my former friends will soon learn there's no free lunch, especially from ZANU-PF. There is no free lunch. They think they were smart. They played Chamisa. They did not play Chamisa. They played themselves. People don't understand it. Zimbabweans don't get it. Whenever you are entertaining evil, you're not playing the next person. You are playing yourself. Okay? When you are doing evil, or when you are in the camp of wickedness, you are not playing the other person. You are playing yourself. You are simply saying to the devil, I'm here. Use me. And bear in mind, the devil does not own nothing. Everything is counterfeit. Whatever God does, he perverts. That's why if he comes in and gives you something you think maybe it's happening for you, no, it's temporary. Because he doesn't own it. So the owner of stuff will take it. So he is not omnipresent. He's not omniscience. So whatever that he does, he takes what God has, he go and give you, because he doesn't have much. So he comes back and take it and go give the next person. So just know, if you are playing with the devil in his camp, it's just temporary. It's not going to last. You know what's eternal? It's your purpose. It's what God says is for you. It's for you. And no one can take it away from you. But if you think that you can cut corners by deceiving people to get to the front, no. The devil is just using you to do his dirty work. But within a short space of time, he will remove you or take that away and give it to someone else because he's a master illusionist. He doesn't own nothing. He gives false hope. So they thought they were smart. No, we have to outshine Chamisa, so we embarrassed him. Did you think so? No. So that's why wisdom is crying and calling everyone on the street. You need wisdom, brothers and sisters. You need to be wise. The devil don't give anything for free. He lies. He's a liar. That's his mission is very clear. He came to steal, to kill, and to destroy. But you know what God did? He came and gave us life in abundance. So you must be afraid of people that goes in prayer. I don't think you can outsmart those people. When they go to pray to their God, he comes in and answers by fire. You're going to have to pay it hardly. Unfortunately, yeah, boys, you thought you were smart. The man that you take is nothing compared to what's coming for you. It's going to rain big time. It's going to rain. Okay, now there's an issue of fight in terms of the ZIG money and the monies that, the ZIG is another thing that they're trying to protect. Again, that's caused people to go to prison. That one, I think, is a story of another day. That we're going to be looking at. People saying ZIG is not going to last long, but however, we need to have patience and really support the Reserve Bank governor and what he's doing. But because there's an issue of corruption in the country, people know that some of these policies that are being put in place are simply just to hoodwink people, so people can again lose their monies. Some people also were alleging that they lost their dollars immediately after this ZIG was introduced. Take a listen to Super Madwanzara, please.
Wow, and I think colleagues, honorable members here, have all spoken in support of the proposed amendments to the Depositors Protection Act. I also stand here, Mr. Speaker, to support the motion. When we talk about depositors, we're not just talking about individuals. When we talk about depositors, we are talking about everybody who makes use of banking services. So that includes individuals, that includes corporates, that includes burial societies, or whatever form of institutions or persons that utilize the services of banking institutions. So therefore, I don't see anyone who would be opposed to more protection of the depositors' funds in the event of bank failure. Mr. Speaker, what really made me want to contribute is also to tone down some of the expectations and what I heard from some of the colleagues, some extreme measures that relate to how failed banks or failed bank executives must be treated. I think we ought to understand how we get failed banking institutions. Sometimes it is not actually the responsibility of bank executives in one particular bank. There is what happens in the banking sector that they call a contagion effect. A contagion effect is when one bank fails, because they're all interconnected, it causes the collapse of other banks within the system. In most cases, that failure cannot be attributed to the management of those particular banks that have failed as a result of the contagion effect. You could attribute that to the environment. You can attribute that to lack of supervision by the regulator, in this particular case, the central bank. So to propose some suggestions that I've heard in the House, that anyone who has been working for a financial institution or a bank that has failed must not then be given any other opportunity in life to start another bank would be extreme to have a law to that effect. Because what that means is that we are not allowing people to try. I think anyone who has been in business understands that failure is an important aspect of business. You must fail in order to succeed. So therefore, we must not have a law that makes our people afraid to even try to get into business. So we must encourage, in my view, we must encourage investment, but at the same time, put measures that safeguard the depositors' funds, and that individual cases must be looked at in their individuality, not to have a blanket law that says if you are part of a failed bank, you are never allowed to be anywhere near starting another bank or another financial institution. I thought that is important to put on the table, because while we are all passionate, Mr. Speaker said, about the importance of protecting depositors, we all must be passionate about allowing people a second chance. Even those that go to jail, when they come out rehabilitated, they are given another chance in life. So similarly, I think it should apply to those who are bold enough to create employment and start financial institutions. The second point, Mr. Speaker, said I needed to make with regard to the proposed amendments is that we must also understand the state at which we are as a country, and particularly the state of our financial services sector. We are coming from a very difficult period where we have suffered the most extreme economic actions against our country, where international financial institutions have been penalized for doing business with Zimbabwe or Zimbabwean institutions. We have had international banks leave this country because they've been fined internationally for doing business in Zimbabwe. So we must make sure that as we amend the law, as we make proposals, we are also doing so in a manner that does not keep aside the banks that we must now invite to set up in Zimbabwe. Because we do need more banks, we do need more international banks, because we have to play our part in global trade. And that may mean that we must have Chinese banks set up here, we must have American banks set up here, and we must have more South African banks set up here, just as we must have Zimbabwean banks like FBC, Zimbabwean banks like Metropolitan Bank, also set up in South Africa, in China, and other places of the world. So our laws, in my view, must also take into account that, as our president is saying, Zimbabwe is open for business. We do not make amendments that threaten the viability or the interest to come and invest in that business. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
But he's right there, guys, he's right. Give people opportunities to actually open business, successful business in the country. I know that it's difficult with ZANU-PF. Honestly, ZANU-PF needs to be good for good, like this system for good. I don't wish to hear about the word ZANU-PF again, maybe in the next 5 years or so. My prayer is whatever that's going to happen to free this country should just dissolve. We don't want to hear about any word called ZANU-PF. Maybe it should be just history, like Mugabe is just history because of how much pain they've caused our people. I just don't want to hear about ZANU-PF again. If we are in these shenanigans and all the mess that we are in because we are sitting with people who, number one, are very much incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. And so some ministries are full of people who don't have a clue of what they're doing. We're sitting with people who just believe that wrong has to be right and right has to be wrong. Also who are very, very shrewd, disrespectful. They don't care about what people think. That's why I'm praying Mutsvangwa, it's your time. Mutsvangwa is left with 8 days to close his presidency position, which people were actually reminding each other today. And they said we want to watch and see what happens after 8 days left. First and foremost, I never saw him doing anything as a president that he was claiming he was. If this is how they were playing to destroy Chamisa, this is a shame, and it's disgusting. I don't expect it to be done by an attorney, because I know Mutsvangwa is a lawyer. So an attorney who behave like that, to me, it's sad. It's sad to watch. It's very sad. And Brett was like, you must keep this shining light on him, because we want to learn something concerning the importance of our structures and constitution, which they were busy blaming Chamisa that he didn't have structures, he didn't have constitution. I hate it with passion when people always want to blame a person because they just want to push a wrong narrative. Chamisa didn't do anything wrong. Under normal circumstances, we wouldn't be talking about elections right now. But sometimes we need to call things as they are, that people just took an advantage evil and think that they can get to the front. But you can see it's boiling now because if the will of the people, got respected then prior, we wouldn't be in this mess. But you know why? We're in the mess because you disrespected people and the one above heard you. He's going to dissolve every mess that's going on there. People belong to God. Right? Yeah. You must know that God fights for his people anytime, any day, any minute. Don't think you're smart because you're not. That's why they said the next opposition front in Zimbabwe will be organic. National issues will bring like-minded citizens together. Don't force it. And people are saying, don't worry. You were forcing things and nothing's going to work because the new Zimbabwe that's coming is going to be a Zimbabwe of oneness, where we have to hire people based on meritocracy, not just because you are dancing at the airport and say, we don't want Chamisa to run the country. All of a sudden you think you can be at the front. It doesn't work like that. We want the right people. Zimbabwe is packed with very intelligent men and women, successful people who are able to do the job. They should get those positions. This country has to be resuscitated by all means. Whether people like it or not, it's coming and it's going to happen. Okay, so politics is wild. This is where we are today. Let's watch what's happening, the developments that are coming up in the next few days. Of course, Mutsvangwa is not going to give up. And the element of Kasukuwere is getting up. Also looking at Chiwenga as well. He's just playing don't forget he did in 2017. He woodwinked us very, smartly, Padam Gabe song. Don't remember this time. We're just watching. We're just watching. I'm waiting for a signal. By the way, I'm going to repeat my words. Please, Mr. Chamisa, please. Whatever you want to try and starting right now, I'm asking you to never do the ambiguity thing. Please don't. People love you, okay? Zimbabwean people love your leadership. Just hear this out. There's no ambiguity anything. Let me tell you, what people know is difficult to destroy. I can tell you the truth, especially from a business point of view. If you are clean or everything is clean, they won't destroy you. Because the people who love you will defend their vote, will stand and say, no, I'm not, you can't buy me. So this time, don't do no ambiguity anything. Put it out there. Everything must be in the open. So anyone who think you're going to mess us up, our eyes are open widely. Not again this time. Not again. We are getting wiser and wiser by day. So Mr. Chamisa, please, no ambiguity. Let's have everything clean. Some people are saying we must have, members have to actually register or something. Do it, sir. Clean. Let's know who is there and who is not. You know what I mean? So that we move forward, please. I also heard that apparently this is just what people are dropping now, that Monica Mutsvangwa actually was reached out to Auxilia Mnangagwa. I think these are just maybe, people are just saying things, man. He reached out to Auxilia to negotiate his son's release, but Auxilia said have ignored the plea, accusing Chris of inciting members of the public to boo her. In turn, Monica blamed Chiwenga for the booing. Remember, Auxilia Mnangagwa went to I think in Manicaland, and then people booed it. Those ones that were arrested. So they simply people say alleging that apparently Chiwenga is the one that sent people to boo her. But you know what? I believe it. I believe it because, do you remember last time, guys, do you remember what happened? I think Zimbabweans, we forget things so easily. Do you remember that time at the funeral of More Blessing Ali? Do you remember what happened at More Blessing Ali? Do you remember that? Did you ask yourself why those people were never arrested? I really think that thing was actually orchestrated. But again, the people that orchestrated that, they must actually fear God because that was wrong. But I'm just telling you the kind of politics that we play, dirty politics. I pray that we won't play dirty politics again in the new Zimbabwe. Tabuda's rules really clear, guys. If people vote you because you're good at what you do, yes. But if people don't want you, they just don't want you. In the new Zimbabwe, we don't want dirty politics anymore. They can be too toxic, especially to our youngsters. They send a very wrong message to the young and create a culture that is abnormal. We cannot carry on. It's about time, Zimbabweans, we begin to exalt real principles so we can be people of dignity, guys. It's our dignity. But tifambi no respect from society. Is a true as you know says, guys, to go kumbirisa spare the new this generation of my generation. I'm asking you, please, guys. It's okay to have classy. It's okay to be a person of etiquette. We can't, guys, we cannot. It's time we rescue ourselves from this mess, right? And do the right thing. Let's not inherit what our parents are doing. It's not good. We need to start doing things right and be respectful for each other and understanding that if we want to succeed as a nation, it will require us respecting who we are first and everything will align. Because you can't expect other countries to respect us when we don't respect ourselves, right? There are things that we don't do because we're raised properly. Let's start playing and raising a very strong families. Please, by all means. I love you all. May God bless you and may God bless Zimbabwe. Make sure that at least we share some love always. Tell your families, your friends, you love them. Maybe today may be the last day to speak to them. So please, share some love. Sleep tight, and if you just wake up, you have a good one. We'll speak soon. Let's open our ears to see what's happening. But again, we're not going to be hoodwinked this era. Not 2017 this time. No. I love you, and God bless you, and bye for now.